32. Female. Prior history of chronic migraine and somnolence. Arrived at the hospital displaying signs of dense left-sided hemiplegia and altered mentation. MRI scan showed vasogenic edema, accumulation of fluids from disruption of the blood-brain barrier caused by a tumor in the lateral segment of the precentral gyrus. Step 1. Preparations for surgery. She's here at the operating room now. We positioned her to lie on her side for minimal brain shifting. I run one last equipment check in my mind as the other surgeons try to localize the tumor in her brain. Step 2. Make an incision along the scalp. My scalpel slides down the flesh with minimal resistance. Muscle and skin were smoothly pulled back and held securely in place. The yellowish tint of the skull is exposed beneath. Step 3. Craniotomy. The drill picks up bone dust. It is washed away along the slick, slimy fumes and faint red traces of blood. I carefully drill along the circle, feeling the bone plates vibrate beneath my fingers. Step 4. Expose the brain. I lift up the bone plate and make small, sharp cuts across the dura, a tough fibrous membrane that envelops the brain. The soft, gel-like throbbing mass of fat and tissue is exposed beneath. My colleagues pull back the dura with tack-up sutures so I could work better. Step 5. Remove the tumor. My brow furrows in intense concentration as I cut around the blood vessels intertwining the brain. I feel the sweat on my forehead drying immediately in the cold air. I slowly prod around the gelatinous mass and try to gain entry to where the tumor is. Shiny crimson blood oozes from the cuts. My colleagues work to suction it away before it interferes with my surgery. Step 6. What? In that dark, dense, pulsating mass of fat tissue and nerve endings, I see it gazing back at me. It almost blends into the blood and mush around it. It sees my petrified face, my quivering lips mouthing a silent scream. It smiles with 1,000 eyes before burrowing deeper into the brain, disappearing among the arteries and wrinkles. The beeping from the CUSA machine snaps me back to reality. My colleagues stare at the dark, endless hole in the patient's brain, all of their faces deathly pale with terror. Nobody utters a word. Step 7. Cleanup. I ease the hydrogen peroxide soaked cotton ball down the hole to kill off the neoplastic cells, knowing full well it won't do much at this point. I then remove it and apply hemostatic agents to the brain, sew up the dura, tack on the replacement dura, and refit the skull plate with titanium microplates. I close up the scalp. Then I collapse in a chair and let my colleagues take over. Step 8. Go home and think about alternative career paths for a neurosurgeon. Gods don't sleep at night, but they watch you when you do. So when I close my eyes, remember to close yours too. I never understood the rhyme that Mother sang to me every night. But then there again, I never understood a lot of things, like why the snow my father tracks into the house never melts. Why the strung up line of rodent and bird corpses hanging from our ceiling have their eyes all gouged out, or why all the windows are boarded up with steel plates. But good kids don't ask questions, and good kids don't bother Mummy and Daddy while they worked. So I went down to the basement to find my scuttling, wriggling, burrowing friends. I put a big shiny black beetle on my tongue. The chewing comes naturally afterwards. As I grow older, the fog of boredom dissipates into an itching, restless anxiety for some explanation. I would wander upstairs to find my mother and father diligently at work, digging their knives into the exposed sockets of lifeless animals. With a practiced flick and twist of the wrist, the eyeballs detach with a few thin strands of sinew in between and fall within a small bucket. Sometimes I see Father dump the bucket outside. His silence absorbed my questions like moss to a raindrop. They always refused my pleas to be included, so I sulk by the corner where the snow my father tracked in still hasn't melted. They've accumulated in the little crevices and creases of the floor. Still I begged, day after day, for them to let me see outside. And one day, my mother finally relented after seeing the tears on my face. She lifts up a small corner of the metal sheets covering our windows and allows me to peer out into the world. What I saw I barely comprehended. Flesh, nothing but flesh in the pink pale sky. There is no sky, only the undulating forms of veinous, gelatinous flesh that folded upon itself. Tendrils miles long stretched from the formless monstrosity to the earth, searching, writhing, tasting. Within its folds are countless eyes, millions frantically blinking and watching in every possible direction. The eyes well up with tears that run from the rivulets into a flood. Endless streams of salt rain cascaded from the sky, coagulating into snow that never melted. My mind burned with static in its gaze. There are shapes beneath it, humanoid, eyeless, wandering. Father pours a bucket of eyes out on our front porch. A tendril takes our offering and retreats back into the all-seeing sky. As long as it has eyes, it won't take ours, Mother whispered to me. The eyes search aimlessly. A pressure starts to build in my skull, and before my eyes burst from the pain, Mother shuts the window. Gods don't sleep at night, but they watch you when you do. Oh hey, hello. You must be Detective McAllister. You know, you look a lot older than your ID picture suggests. Can we ease up on the handcuffs then? I'm itching like hell somewhere on my face. No need to shout, I get it. Yeah, well, if you're here, why don't we skip the introductions? Alright, fine. Yes, I can confirm that's my name. Yes, you didn't catch the wrong guy, it's me. So you want to know why I did it? Why I did what I did to him? You know, when I was little, there used to be this grocery store nearby, and the popsicles were the only thing I could really afford. All the other snot-faced fucking brats had their toys or whatever, and I had to pinch every penny just to save up enough for one of those ice motherfuckers. I'm getting there, be patient. So turns out saving up money in my piggy bank until I can open it up again and count all the coins inside was the most satisfying thing ever. It's like kind of addicting, really. And you know, I never liked him. Not on the first day I saw him at my workplace. I bet you his fat ass sweats cash through those Tom Ford pants. He smelled like daddy's money from head to toe. He's got those hungry, squinting eyes too. Like he's measuring how much your organs would sell for on the black market. So, I turned him into a piggy bank. I had plenty of spare changes lying around from all the money I saved up over the years, and even that wasn't enough to fill the fucking pig. So I kept saving them up. At first he tried to vomit them back up, but I could just force him to eat all those coins again. The teeth were a small cost. I must have poured $300 down his throat. It was worth every penny. Oh, there's gotta be a fancy word in your law book that describes folks like me, right? Or should I coin a new term for you? Heh, I thought that was pretty funny. Don't worry, the fella is in mint condition. Oh, he's still in the house. You'll find him where the flies are. Do me a favor and open him up, will ya? You know, let all that shiny silver and bronze and red mushy guts burst out of him. You know that feeling when you finally save up enough money and just break your piggy bank? It's the best feeling in the whole world. Is he still alive? Of course he is. It wouldn't be a piggy bank without a pig, right? That's just common sense. Brian Campbell has agnosia, a malignant tumour and narrow brush with death left him with difficulty of recognizing objects based on individual characteristics. Brian woke up from surgery into an immensely unfamiliar world. Please name the common object before you. The psychiatrist eyed him from behind the clipboard. Brian struggled to piece together scattered information as he eyed the strange thing taunting him with its terrifyingly alien shape. It is long and shiny, Brian concluded after gazing at the object for a good while. It has a pointy tip and a little button at the end. What do you think it is? Something to unblock a pipe with, a sort of needle for surgery. It's a pen, Mr. Campbell. Many other instances such as that one has left Brian more than confused and disoriented. He no longer recognized his shoes or his cup. He could describe his car down to the upholstery, but cannot for the life of him understand that it's the same vehicle he drove for 20 years in. Elena Campbell, out of sympathy for her distraught husband, compiled a little list of the essentials that he will need to remember. Squishy tube with a cap at the end, soft white gel inside, toothpaste, plastic blue frayed bristles, toothbrush, small round plastic dial with numbers on a panel, AC control, thin white soft paper rolls with a yellow portion, your cigarettes, smoke one each day only, pink plastic with liquid inside and a button for clicking, lighter, and so on and so forth. Today, Brian woke up, brushed his teeth with the soft white gel on the hard bristles, twisted the small round dials on the panel to combat the summer heat, and searched for his white and yellow paper rolls with delicious tobacco inside. As he clicked on the lighter, he wondered why the house still hadn't cooled down yet. Elena Campbell at her workplace felt bile rise in her throat as she remembered that she forgot to distinguish between dials for the AC and the stove. March 7th, 2021. Name: Barrett V. Symptoms: Mrs. Barrett entered the ER under complaints of a bruised arm. No other symptoms were present. Light discoloration around her upper arm. Diagnosis: mild contusions. Prescription: advised OTC naproxen for pain relief. Notes: patient stated a sporting injury. She did not elaborate on the details. 16th of March, 2021. Name: Barrett V. Symptoms: more bruises along both arms, upper back, left cheek, mild lacerations along both forearms, potential periorbital hematoma due to blunt trauma. Diagnosis: moderate contusions and lacerations. Prescription: prescribed naproxen for pain relief. Notes: patient stated a domestic accident as cause. She refused to elaborate. 21st of March 2021. Name: Barrett C. Symptoms: Mr. Barrett entered the ER under complaints of intense headache. Patient was visibly intoxicated the entire time. Diagnosis: migraine from intoxication. Prescription: patient requested ibuprofen for pain relief. Notes: patient is advised to stop drinking as symptoms of liver cirrhosis onset is visible. 27th of March 2021. Name: Barrett V. Symptoms: periorbital hematoma, bruising concentrated on both arms and face. Discoloration of skin ranges from dark purple to pale yellow. Patient was evaluated for further injuries. No other conditions were present. Diagnosis: blunt force trauma to the cranium and upper body. Prescription: naproxen for anti-inflammatory pain relief. Advise patient to continue taking OTC NSAIDs until symptoms subside. Notes: advise patient to seek help from law enforcement or National Domestic Abuse Hotline as soon as possible. The 1st of April 2021. Name: Barrett V. Symptoms: Second-degree burns with hypopigmented center and hyperpigmented periphery. More bruising around cranium and chest. No bone fractures were detected. Diagnosis: cigarette burns, blunt force trauma to the cranium and upper body. Prescription: naproxen for anti-inflammatory pain relief. Amoxicillin to prevent infections. Notes: advise patient to keep her medicines separate from her husband's, and under no circumstances allow him to take both together. The interaction between ibuprofen and naproxen could cause gastrointestinal bleeding. Considering his liver cirrhosis onset, this is very likely fatal.